friends, today I will show you how to make the activated zinc. So here is the zinc powder from the Sigma Ulrich, and the mesh size is less than 10 micrometer and purity is more than 98%. But still in some cases you need the activated zinc for the reduction purpose. So here the procedure I am showing you how to do the activation of the zinc. So the literature procedure and the paper reference also is given below if you want to see there. So first of all, here I'm measuring the zinc. So here I'm measuring 30 gram of the zinc powder and with the analytical balance. So once I measure the 30 gram, so then I will take that zinc powder uh, with me, and then I'm going to add in a round bottom flask. So definitely you don't need to make the round bottom flask dry, but keep an stirring bar inside, like magnet inside the round bottom flask, and add those zinc. And here I have added the zinc. I will add the aqueous HCl solution 1 molar, sorry, not 1 molar, 2% aqueous HCl solution. So I will add that aqueous HCl in this flask and stir for 2 minutes, and then I'll gonna wash with different organic solvents, and finally I will dry it. So the whole process I'm gonna showing here. So here if you may ask, like, why the zinc need to be activated, or what is the purpose of this. So here that zinc I'm going to activate, we need to use it to reduce our nitro group. So that's why I'm making this activated zinc. So the calculation I will show you, but before that I want to tell, normally regular zinc in expose of air, it has a extra layer of zinc oxide on the surface. So suppose if you need pure zinc, but it might have some surface zinc oxide. So if you use aqueous HCl solution, then that zinc oxide is kind of basic, so that HCl solution will react with the zinc oxide to form zinc chloride and water, and zinc chloride is water soluble. So if you use aqueous HCl solution, so zinc oxide will be gone, then you will get pure zinc metal, and that pure zinc metal will be like called activated zinc, and it will form it will be useful to reduce nitro or any other compound. So what we are going to do, like, we will add the HCl for 2 minutes, and then we will filter it, and during filtration zinc will stay in the filter paper, and then we will wash with the water, definitely DI water. Second, we will wash with the ethanol, like 100% ethanol, and then we will wash with the acetone, and then we will wash with the hexane, and finally we will wash with the dry anhydrous diethyl ether. And then we will filter, definitely we will filter it with the vacuum pump or suction pump, so that it can be dry quickly. And keep in mind, the filtration part should be like very fast, because it shouldn't be exposed to air for a long time. Then again it can have a problem to get the zinc oxide again, so there is no benefit of it doing this whole thing. So here I am going to show you how to do this, the whole part. Let's do it then. So I have the zinc in this flask. Now before adding the aqueous HCl in here, so plan accordingly what will be your next things requirement. Like, you might need some round bottom flask, aluminum flask, and filter paper, Buchner funnel, and vacuum source. So because 2 minutes is very fast, so before starting, just make sure that you have everything ready. And another important thing is, remember that why we are using ethanol and acetone. So first with the aqueous HCl, then with the DI water, so that water content need to be gone, so that water will be gone from the metal by ethanol, and then acetone, and finally organic solvent, converting to organic solvent, because organic solvent is volatile and it will be gone quickly. So here I have the hydrochloric acid that is concentrated, and bottle level is 37%. So you can convert it to 2%. So we can calculate how much we may need for making the 2% of concentrated HCl. So B1S1, B1C1 equal to B2C2. So B is volume, C is concentration. So V2 is final volume, like we want to make 100 milliliter, and C2 like final concentration, that should be like 2%. So we can make 100 times 2, and the C1 is initial concentration, which is in the bottle concentration, like 37 point something percent. So whatever the initial volume of the concentrated acid I need, I can get that calculation. So from the calculator, so I'm getting B1 as 5 point something milliliter. So it could be 5.440 milliliter. Yes. So now if I want to make the total 100 milliliter of 2%, so I'll add 5.4 milliliter concentrated HCl, and remaining part, like around 94 point something, will be water. Remaining part will be water. So then it will, total volume will be 100. So let's make it, and then we can start activating the zinc. So the process is pretty much straightforward. So as I explained here, like 5.40 milliliter concentrated sulfuric acid, hydrochloric acid, and 94.6 milliliter of the water mixing together. So here I am taking concentrated HCl solution. And remember one thing, you don't need to be exactly like by measuring like pipette. So a little bit rough measurement is fine. So here I'm taking the concentrated HCl with a syringe with the help of a needle. So and definitely be careful when you're inclining the bottle. Try to incline the acid bottle. The mouth should be inward to the hood, like not toward you or your nose or eyes, definitely, because HCl or like any concentrated acid has a like fume, so that can be harmful for your health. So that's why I'm making the bottle inside the hood. So here I have taken the acid in a measuring cylinder. Now I'm going to add some water, and then I'll mix it, dilute it. Then I'm going to use that water here to add in the flask. So here I'm bringing the water. So here I'm using like purest water, Optima brand water. So it doesn't require like Optima brand water, but like since we had an our DI water was not that much qualityful, that's why I'm using the Optima water, not to take any risk, because we are activating the zinc. So here I'm using SPLC grade or LCMS grade Optima water. So by first you have to take the concentrated acid in the measuring cylinder, and then you will slowly add the water in the concentrated HCl. Because remember, like, do not pour the concentrated acid in the water. So first you can add some water with a pipette in the measuring cylinder with the side wall of the measuring cylinder. Do not pour like directly on the acid. So if you see, I am pouring the water with the uh, wall of the glass so that it can slowly added in the acid and getting diluted, and this process is exothermic process. All of you must have known that like this acid dilution is always exothermic. It produces heat, so be careful and do not spill while you are handling the acid. You need to be very very careful, and you can see in the bottom like once the water is getting added, so you can see like how it is getting diluted. So when you add a little bit of water diluted, then you can slowly pour more water to mark up to 100 milliliter. So here I am doing making the 100 milliliter 2% aqueous HCl solution. So once I'm done from here, then I'm gonna add that that aqueous HCl solution in my pre-measured zinc dust solid kept in a round bottom flask. So here I will put my flask in the stirring plate, and I will connect my flask before adding my acid like aqueous HCl solution. So be careful when you're handling the acid, so you have to be really really careful for that. So here I positioned the clamp and making sure that it may not have any spilling risk, or it will not create any problem. So that's why I clamped it with the stirring. I'm making ready with the stirring plate, and before adding the aqueous solution, as I said before, so what are the things you need right after 2 minutes. So you might need some flask, and also the filter paper, and also Buchner funnel. So I'm making ready everything like Buchner funnel and vacuum and everything, so that immediately I can start filtration. So here I am clamping my round bottom flask with zinc in it, and then I'm going to add the aqueous HCl solution. And another thing is to do that you can add HCl directly on the flask, and you can start stirring also. So since it is 30-gram zinc, so I'm going to use actually 100 milliliter of the acid aqueous HCl solution, all of it, and then I will start stirring. So if you can see like some of the solid zinc is floating on the water surface. So 2 minutes is more than enough for the activation. So it's better if you swirl it and then stir it, or like even stirring may not be like too good. So I would do like swirling, like I just take it out and swirl it so that all the zinc is getting reacted. So you might see like a chunk of zinc is there because it was like powdery zinc, but with the HCl it may be like kind of chunky inside the flask. So let it run for 2 minutes. So once 2 minutes is done, then you can start filtration of that zinc. Here I'm waiting for 2 minutes, and once it is done, then I will stop stirring, and then I will swirl. Maybe that would be better. See, you might see here already zinc is like forming a big chunk or something. So I'm just doing some swirling here. So after that I will start filtration. So I'll connect my Buchner funnel with the vacuum source and making ready. And once it is done for swirling, so then I will start filtration. So you may see like I'm doing it vigorously, and make sure that you do it like only 2 minutes, not more than 2 minutes, because if you do here I'm filtering, so only water first, so it is uh, not coming. So I will try to break the chunk so that all the zinc is here. Now I'm adding water in it, and I'll shake it so that the chunk is breaking, and then it can go to the beginner funnel. So you can tap it also. So I'm just washing my zinc. I'm washing out all the acid from here, and then start shaking. So 2 times, 3 times of the water. So more water was required because you cannot keep the acid in with the zinc. So here, after third wash of the water, then I'm shaking, and like I'm just carefully shake and like tap it like this, but be careful, don't break any glassware. So if you do it, like all the zinc is in the flask, like beginner funnel. So here, once all all zinc is in the beginner funnel, then you can second wash would be like 100% ethanol, like 200 proof ethanol. So here you can wash it with the ethanol, and now make sure that all of the zinc is washed by the ethanol. So you will pour such way like so that all the zinc is under ethanol, and then continue the vacuum, so it will be um, uh, filtered, washed. Oh, be careful. Yeah, this is very susceptible, like while you are making many kinds of glassware, like it can be spilled or something. So once the ethanol part is done, then try to break the chunk also with the zinc while your methanol is there, so that like all the zinc can be washed out, because while you added the ACl, it can form like big big chunk. So if you mash down, then it will be easy to wash out all the water and the like aqueous part actually, because you used water for washing this zinc to remove the extra ACl, aqueous ACl solution. So once it is done, like making kind of powdered, then make sure that all ethanol is dried out. Then you can add a little bit more ethanol to wash second times. So, and this process should be very quickly with the vacuum. So here I'm doing my second wash with the ethanol. So once it is done with this ethanol, then I'm going to use acetone in it, because first ethanol will remove the water part, because ethanol has a hydroxyl group in it and water has a hydroxyl group, so they can dissolve each other. So the all water should be gone with the ethanol, but still it might have some more ethanol. So in that case, you can wash with some acetone. So acetone also can remove all the water. So I am doing here like second wash of the zinc with the ethanol. So once it is done, then I'm going to use acetone, and here I bring some hexane and also anhydrous diethyl ether. So when the ethanol part is done, then I'm going to use acetone. Oh, if it takes time, then just wrap this part with a aluminum foil so that it is not getting exposed to air for a long time. So once it is dry, then now I'm going to use acetone. So after ethanol, you can use acetone, and acetone will remove the remaining water from this mixture. So like it might not have any water, but still to make sure like there shouldn't be any water, so we are going to use some acetone here and make sure that the whole amount of zinc again should be under the acetone, like it should be totally immersed with the acetone. So if you see the solvent layer, and then I will cover that whole Wegener funnel with aluminum foil again. So once it is done, like dried, then I will remove the aluminum foil. And in between this time, you may switch the Erlenmeyer flask. If you see my Erlenmeyer flask solvent layer is like almost close to full. So in between this time, while I'm going to do the add the next solvent, but before doing that, I will change Erlenmeyer flask or like round bottom flask, whatever, and then do the vacuum again. And once it is dry, then I will add now one more acetone, because the more ethanol or acetone you do, the more efficient it will be, like waterless. So that's what I'm doing here. Like I'm washing with the acetone again and covered with the aluminum foil until it gets dry. And then once it is dry, then I'm going to use the hexane. So I'm now kind of making the organic environment. So the hexane will be gone through the zinc, and once it is done, then dry. And before getting dry again, I will cover it with the aluminum foil, and like not to expose air. Now once it is dry, then I'm going to use the diethyl ether to do the final wash of this activated zinc. So here I'm going to use now the diethyl ether, because that is almost getting dry. So and that diethyl ether actually boiling point is small, like lower, like 32 degrees Celsius. So that's why the final organic solvent should be diethyl ether, because it will help you to dry quickly, because organic solvents has a like high volatility, like it can be driven away like nicely and quickly by vacuum pump. So once it is washed with this, the all those kind of solvents like ethanol, acetone, and then hexane, and finally we can use diethyl ether, anhydrous diethyl ether, because it shouldn't have any water in it, because we are going to dry anyway. So if you use ether, and careful, remember that, like before using ether, I can use a little bit more hexane again, to make sure that there is no any non-polar impurity or anything coming from the acetone or ethanol or anything. And finally, once it is done, then I'm going to use diethyl ether. Remember that diethyl ether has a low boiling point, and its flash point is too high, and it can also explode with a heating source near to this. So be careful while you are handling the diethyl ether. Now I'm pouring the diethyl ether on that, and the zinc will be getting washed with the diethyl ether. So I'm gonna use one more time once it is done. So here the diethyl ether will wash out all kind of organic solvents like hexane, methanol, and hexane, ethanol, and acetone, everything. Okay, while it is getting dry, I also made one round bottom flask ready. That should be very dry, oven dried. And if you can do flame dry, you can do the flame dry also. But since you're filtering the zinc with different organic solvent, and ethyl ether is also like a very volatile low boiling point solvent, so and activated zinc is there, so you should be careful. Don't transfer that like zinc immediately in this flask if that flask is hot. So you have to make that round bottom flask at room temperature, because if it is hot and activated zinc is like could be flammable, so it could be problematic, like pyrophoric or something. It can catch fire or something. So once it is dry, and then you can give a good vacuum to make it more dry. So here we have another vacuum pump, which is very like powerful vacuum pump. So here I'm using that vacuum pump to make it more high vacuum, to make it completely dry, while the aluminum foil is still on, because we are transferring here and there. So we are not willing to expose this zinc with the air. So once it is dry, like if you don't see anything is not coming from that flask, then you can take out from the vacuum pump, and then you can transfer that zinc. Activate this is, you can say, this is activated zinc. And here the temperature is 100 degrees Celsius. I'm like the heating mantle is almost ready for that. So we will be using that activated zinc, like we will transfer that activated zinc in a round bottom flask, and then we will use a rubber septa, and then we will start vacuum with the high vacuum pump. And while we are using vacuum pump, then we will also use heat. So here I am pouring the zinc, like activated zinc, from the Buchner funnel. But although after washing with different organic solvent, still it may show like kind of little weighty, but it can be the organic solvent, so it's okay. Now I'm transferring that zinc in that round bottom flask, and with the steering bar, magnetic bar. So once everything is added here, so I will be using one rubber septa immediately, and then I will put invert this rubber septa like this, and then I will put a parafilm, so that no air can go inside, and making sure. So here you can see like I'm putting parafilm in this flask. Now I am putting the flask under vacuum, and also I'll put the whole flask in like the heating plate, hot plate. So it should be like around 99 degrees Celsius or 100 degrees Celsius. So it will make the zinc, activated zinc, fully dry, because I'm giving heat along with the vacuum. So heat and vacuum will make this zinc dry, completely dry and activated. And after 10 to 20 minutes later, you can remove it, because you will see the zinc could be like very powdery and freely floating, moving. Now it may be still, maybe you can see like a small chunk or like solid, but once it is in the like sometimes you may like do like swirling while under vacuums, and put it in the heating hot plate, so it can be dried by this way. And maybe you can rotate it like this, and make sure that you get the heat. And you can also do other thing, like the whole flask you can put in the sand bath, like hot sand bath or like hot oil bath. But will always get like sticky and something outside the flask, and that's why I try to make like as long as it is hot or like heating way, and the steering bar is rotating, so that's fine. So here I am trying to put my flask in a center position, so that it can give a nice and homogeneous stirring, and also like drying with the heat like organic solvent. And by this way, after 10 to 20 minutes later, this zinc will be dried and powdery, and it will be ready to use. Thank you for watching. Bye.